President Donald Trump, the Afrikaners of Orania, we are very thankful with the recognition of our legitimate pursuit. That is the pursuit of Afrikaner self-determination and an autonomous region. Recognizing us as an ethnic people leads to a conclusion, and that is that the only sustainable option for Afrikaners is an autonomous area.
Donald Trump, South Africa belongs to South African. The land of South Africa belongs to indigenous people of South Africa. You have no say in this country. You have absolutely no say in this country. Whoever misguiding you, they must know the fact South Africa will defend its country. Expropriation without compensation of South Africa will be happen. Black people of South Africa, majority of this country.
It's very hard to defend my white brothers and sisters sometimes. Sometimes I find it hard to defend my white brothers and white sisters, more so white South Africans. Wow. A small talk, Donald Trump talk, make you go protest on the streets. Say you want to divide South Africa.
We're advocating for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to have a look into the country and to the political stance what's happening here. With regards to the government corruption that's happening, I think most of the country, I love my country and I love the diversity that we have. You can see I've got South African socks on. I support my country and my country supports me.
Fortunately, the truth of the 30 years is that we have a divided country that focus on a point to a government is literally placing policy and positioning South Africa as a divided nation. And in that in itself, it corrupts in different levels. It brings the concept of peace and reconciliation.
President Donald Trump just signed an executive order with two goals. The first, to freeze all financial aid to South Africa. The second, to promote the resettlement of Afrikaners in the United States, to escape the draconian policies of the South African government. The Afrikaners of Orania take note of this development, and we are very thankful specifically for the urgency with which this was tackled in regards to land expropriation and expropriation of property without compensation. However, our plea can be summarized in 3 words. Help us here. Not necessarily with US tax dollars, but with the recognition of our legitimate pursuit. That is the pursuit of Afrikaner self-determination and an autonomous region. Recognizing us as an ethnic people leads to a conclusion, and that is that the only sustainable option for Afrikaners is an autonomous area. The South African government even signed this as the Afrikaner Accord on Self-Determination in the 1990s, which states that Afrikaner self-determination is a legitimate pursuit. Our highest ambition is not to be resettled or relocated. Our highest ambition is freedom. We ask the White House to recognize this, and we also extend that wish to all other nations. With the grace of God and the help of our friends, this can be made possible. Thank you very much.
It's only 6 weeks in power. You go protest to want Donald Trump and Elon Musk help you divide South Africa. That's bad. That's not acceptable because it is... No. White South Africans, all of you, and black South Africans, South Africa is your country. You are all South Africans because as far as you know, you came to South Africa and most of you were born there. The Boers, Afrikaners, you were born there because those your ancestors who came to South Africa first, they are no more there. So the only place you know is South Africa. Now, this thing you're bringing up of dividing South Africa is more than racist. Okay? So, this is the thing. South Africa is doing land expropriation. It's taking back lands that belong to the people of South Africa. You know, not to the people of South Africa, but to the rightful owners. So, some white South Africans are owning land that they are not theirs. So, the land is being taken back or from them and even back to the rightful owner of the land. And that is something that can happen anywhere, even in America or in the UK, in France. A government can decide that those things that was told to be taken back and give it back to the people. It's right. But since Donald Trump is not in line with South Africa because of the BRICS, South Africa is supporting BRICS or is in BRICS, and Donald Trump is against BRICS. South Africa is supporting Palestine, and Donald Trump is against, So the people, some of white South Africans in Orania, allegedly, they forced or they pushed Trump to put sanctions on South Africa to punish them. And others too went to the street to protest, saying that it is racist. South Africa, I don't know who is being racist here now. First of all, before I continue, let's watch these clips and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Hundreds of protesters held placards that read "Thank God for President Trump" and displayed other messages criticizing what they see as racist laws.
We just want to say to America and to the West, despite the foreign policy decisions the South African government had taken in the past 2 decades, the West does still have a friend here in South Africa.
Many were from the Afrikaner community that Trump focused on in an executive order a week ago that cut aid and assistance.
Guys, it's so hard for me to keep a straight face just doing this video because the information I keep finding online, it's hilarious. Afrikaners are embarrassing the South African community, and then to praise Donald Trump, in such a manner and stuff, for what? All these people were asking for is equality. You guys own majority of the land. The white victimhood is so loud and it's embarrassing. People are looking at you guys and laughing right now. You guys are doing this here so boldly. Oh my goodness. Don't worry, you guys will fit in quite lovely when you get to the US.
Donald Trump. South Africa belongs to South African. You have no say in our country internal matter. Your forefather raped America from indigenous people of America. You focus on those people. You are the one need to be brought to justice, not us. Our black people, black brothers and sisters, being humiliated last 350 years. The land of South Africa belongs to indigenous people of South Africa. You have no say in this country. You have absolutely no say in this country. Whoever misguiding you, they must know the fact South Africa will defend its country. Couple of days back, you used Lesotho to attack us. Couple of days back, you used Rwanda attack us. And now, we are warning you, expropriation without compensation of South Africa will be happen. Black people of South Africa, majority of this country.
When we speak about racism in this country, people say all manner of things. But I'm still to see a white person who supports expropriation of land without compensation. I just need one. So, this thing that actually the division is a class division in South Africa is not true. Because even the poorest white person who doesn't have a land, who has got nothing, you pick up that person at the robots and say, what is your view about land expropriation? That, no, leave the land alone. The poorest white person. So in South Africa, we are still to deal with class divisions. At the core of our divisions is racism. That even the white hobo can't imagine black people owning a land, and it will collapse the economy. Because the way you are so dirty, everything you touch, you dirty it. That's what they say about us, that will collapse the economy. That everyone else will go, that was Zimbabwe. But that which we're doing now, I'm still to see a person who's going to show us that this was done in Zimbabwe, this that we're doing here. It has never been done in Zimbabwe. The consultations brought involvement of everybody and allowing those who own the land to come to your meetings and insult you. It has never happened in Zimbabwe. And then that should give you comfort that our process is completely different from the Zimbabwean process. It's a completely different process. Stop sensationalizing, stop being alarmist, allow democracy to play its own role. So, with regard to the land, I think that is what we want to say. There is no food security which is going to be disrupted here. Not at all. Who are we to go into a farm that is producing food for us and say, no, you must cease operations, and then we are taking over? The ordinary people actually told us on the ground that these whites, when you buy land from them, you give them millions. They put stones in the borehole. They damage them. That's why when you come back and say, we've given you the land, you don't do anything with the land, they say, we didn't find anything functioning here. Before you paid them, everything was functioning here. After you paid them and we took over, everything collapsed. They poisoned the land. They take our millions and still poison the land. They take our millions and break the boreholes. So why would we want to engage in a risky process like that? All we are saying is that we want the land to be democratized. The ownership of the land in South Africa must be reflective of the demographics in South Africa.
Now, welcome back. There have been calls from white or some white South Africans, not all of them. Of course, some are not part of it, particularly Afrikaners nationalist group, to create an independent state or an autonomous region. There have been calls from some white South Africans, particularly Afrikaner nationalist group, to create an independent state or an autonomous region within South Africa. These efforts are primarily driven by concerns over land reforms, policies, crime rates, and under the current government. Okay. However, these views are not universally held by all white South Africans. Just few of them they want this. Now, some of the people who are supporting this movement is Orania. Orania is a self-sustaining Afrikaner-only town, a white-only town within South Africa. These are the people supporting this movement of dividing South Africa to have a white state within South Africa. Orania is a white town, only white town. And I think allegedly these are some of the people from here who pushed Donald Trump to put sanctions on South Africa. And Cape Independence Movement, some white South Africans support the idea of Western Cape breaking away to form a separate country. And we have some group called Afri Forum. These two are supporting this dot movement. Now, the desire of an independent South Africa or an independent region among some white South Africans particularly come from the mix of historical, political, and economic and social factors. When you talk about historical and cultural identity, some Afrikaners see themselves as distinct nation with a unique language, Afrikaans, and culture, which they want to preserve. And you can preserve this without dividing. Okay, for example, I want you to hear this, my white South African friends. In South Africa, we have many languages, Zulu and etc., Hoi Hoi, San, a lot of languages. And each of these languages have preserved their culture for long. Decades after decades, many years down the line, they have preserved their culture. What makes you think that for you to preserve your culture, you have to have your own country? What makes you that? Because Hoi Hoi, they preserve their language and their culture. The San, they have preserved. The Zulu, they have. The Swati, all the communities, all the languages, each and every tribe have preserved their language, have preserved their communities, or they have preserved their culture with or without having their own town. What makes you think that you need to divide South Africa so that you can preserve the culture? If it's not kujipenda, loving yourself as you have always done for a lot of these years. You are just repeating what your ancestors did, or you want to repeat the tension, racial tension within South Africa. It's not right. It's not right. South Africans, all of them, black South Africans, accepted that we have white South Africans in our community. And you are legally there. If you own a land there legally, you are legally there. So the land expropriation that is happening in South Africa does not have to affect you if you know very well you are legally owner of the land. Why having this all tension? I see you protesting and writing some words on the, on that placard saying that you want Donald Trump and Elon Musk to help you stop this racism. That's not racism. And let me tell you something. This idea of idea to want your own country, the idea you want to divide South Africa, this idea is unconstitutional of South Africa. This idea is generally not a good idea. Unprofessional, unconstitutional, is not democratically right. And you are the one that was saying that Africans do not preserve democracy. What's this? This is not democracy. Another thing that white South Africans are calling for their own country is the idea of self-determination has deep roots, dating back to the 19th century, Boer's Republic. Okay. Another thing is some believe that post-apartheid policies like black economic empowerment and affirmative actions have led to job discrimination against white South Africans. It is a good thing that you are realizing that having power, you can do some things that affect another race. Do you remember when white had this power and black people were discriminated? Discrimination, low wages, anything good was for the white people back then, during apartheid, during segregation. It was tough for the black people. And right now, I understand and I know very well, white people are not going through a lot of what black people or black South Africans were going through back then. So, you, as one of the persons said, I think it's Julius Malema, why do you like to play victims? The tears, white tears. And let me tell you the truth. The white tears always carry black people. Even black people fall for the white tears. I saw a video of poor white South Africans somewhere. The black people are like, oh, this is unacceptable. They're not supposed to be like this. These guys need to be rich. The struggle is not for white people. The struggle is for black people. And I was like, whoa, black people have the whole generous heart in the world. Oh my God. You don't want to see white people going through problems, but it is rather you as a black person, you go through this problem, but not white South African. By the way, the white supremacists have brainwashed us. Even if you meet a white person as a street white person, it's hard for you to believe that. So you think you as a black person, you are the one who's supposed to go through. It's a systematic oppression of mind, oppression, brainwashing and everything. Now, another thing, we talk about job discrimination. They urge that these policies disadvantage Afrikaners, particularly in government and business opportunities. Remember, black people were suffering in these business opportunities. They were not getting business opportunities. They were not getting loans. They were not getting government jobs. Each and every white collar jobs was for white people. And that's where the name white collar and black collar came. White collar jobs, black collar jobs. So each and every filthy jobs, like less jobs, slave jobs, was for black people. This happened for many, many years because white people were in power. Now, right now, black people are in power. They are not doing those things that you did, okay? But if they are fighting for their right, you are claiming it is bad to you. Taking back what belonged to them. Is it a bad thing? Right now in America, the USA is sending away the immigrants, and some of the immigrants are black people, Latinos, people who are not from America. But the immigrants are not crying or protesting to have their own country. You know what I'm saying? Okay? If the government of America decides to take back their own property that the immigrants possessed illegally, you cannot protest. I'm not supporting that the white South Africans should go through what black people went through because black people do not pay back. But I'm supporting order, democracy, rightful owners to get what is theirs. Because a lot of black people in South Africa are poor. Generation poverty. That means generation after generation, it's under poverty simply because their property were taken away by the white people. So it's okay to give back what belongs to. And I know very well, as white South Africans, those who are protesting or those who are pushing of the division of South Africa, they knew very well a day like this will come. If I were them, these times that everything was okay, you could just buy your own land, now buy the land and get it legally, But because of the white supremacy effect, it's affecting even the white people too. As I always say, the white supremacy is affecting black people and affecting two white people at large because you think you are the best, but deep down you ain't the best. You think you are the owner, but when the rightful owner come, it's time for you to suffer. So let's blame white supremacy in this. South Africa has high crime rates. Some white communities, especially farmers, feel particularly vulnerable. The issue of farmer attacks has been highly publicized, which claims that white farmers are being targeted. And if that is happening in South Africa, it's a thing that needs to stop because each and every person in the face of the earth need to live peacefully. We do not need to attack the white farmers for us to feel like we are okay. Government, if you get a good government, they should protect everyone. Black South Africans, they should be protected, given back what belonged to them, and the white South Africans should be protected, having what belonged to them and being safe. Everyone need to feel safe in the hands of a country or in a certain country. Also in Africa, we don't have this chaos of discriminating immigrants. Now, the South African government has proposed land expropriation without compensation to address historical injustices. Many white landowners fear losing their property, seeing that it's a threat to their economical survival. And if you fear losing it, you could buy it legally because you took this land legally and these black people suffered for so long time because of you. Now, the government has realized, okay, it's time to, without compensation, because you are the one who need to compensate the owner of that land. The one who suffered for more than 200 years, who suffered for 40 years or 60 years, you as a white settler, you are the one who need to compensate him for suffering all those years, not the other way around. Yes, land without compensation is a good thing. I don't see it as a problem because we cannot compensate you. This land, when you took, maybe you killed the owner, maybe the owner went to the street, left a poverty life, his generation are poor because of you. Why will we? It is logical. It's logical. There's no debate there. Very, very logical. Okay. Some white South Africans feel that they feel alienated from mainstream politics, believing that ANC government does not represent their interest. They urge that corruption and mismanagement have led to economic decline, power outage, and poor government. I believe this is a very sensitive topic because some may call it like we are paying back as black people. Some may call it that we are taking advantage. But the reality is white South Africans are living peacefully in South Africa, enjoying the white supremacy, enjoying everything they got back then. And black people still holding the highest number of poor South Africans because of the white people. So it's not about paying back. It's about following the rules, the order. By ANC doing land reforms does not mean that they are up to you or against you. They are doing it according to the constitution, according to the law, according to the democracy that you call it. You yourself, you put this democracy out there. If you as a white South African, you could acquire all these things democratically way or in the right way, all of this could not have happened. So I think it is the right time even for white South Africans to have or to own things legally. You know, if it is land, buy a land. Get a job as a black person is going to get a job. Payment as white people or black people are being paid. We have job equality. Let's have wages equality. Let's have health equality, school equality. No one is better than the other. No one is better than the other, okay? The white South Africans are not better than black South Africans. The black South Africans are not better than white South Africans. All of us are human beings, okay? All of us are human beings. And I may say this, dividing South Africa to favor one racial group is against the principles of unity. And white people, we believe you have been fighting for unity, you have been fighting for democracy and economic development. South Africa has a complex historical of racial divisions, and the end of apartheid was meant to create more inclusivity and equal society. So why do you want this division now? Instead of division, you just focus on policies to promote economic growth, social cohesion, and equal opportunities for all South Africans, okay? Regardless the race. We do not need the division. Why do you need division? It's because you are full of racist remarks. Those white South Africans who want division, these are racial activities. You still want that apartheid movement. You are taking back South Africa to where it was. You don't want equality, as I may say. You want your race to be best than the other. We need to work hard as we need to mingle. We need to let us go out each and every race, go and look for jobs, do interviews, get employed. We need to be, you don't need special treatment. So you calling Donald Trump and Elon Musk to help you divide South Africa, it's total bad. I don't know what you say in the comment section, because I'm just saying my own opinion. I know you have your own opinion, and I love you all. White South Africans, black South Africans, white people, black people. I love you all. Until next episode, peace out.